Alright, it says cos A is equal to minus a half. If 0 is less than A, less than 180, find the angle A. Now, what you guys need to know is a bit of background about trigonometric functions. Now, what I've drawn here is a circle. In the circle, there's going to be 4 compartments, okay? And what it is, it's like it goes anti-clockwise. Here is always 0 degrees. Next step up is 90. One after that is 180 degrees. The one after that is 270 degrees. Okay? Now, what I also want you to remember is the XY coordinates from junior cert geometry. In junior cert geometry, if I draw a point out here, and this point is 3, 4. What this means is, if I was to draw it out here, it means is that the height is 4 and the width is 3. If I go to the second quadrant, what does it mean now if I drew that? Its height is 5, but it's going left 3, minus 3. If I did it again, but on the bottom 2 quadrants, if I went down this way, and I said this point here is, I don't know, minus 4, minus 6. What does that mean? Minus 4 to the left and minus 6 down. Okay. Finally, what's going to happen next is we're going to go to the bottom right. And if I give you another value, for instance, I give you this value here. I say this is going to be, this one here is going to be minus plus 4. Minus 6. Okay? Now, there's something that you need to remember from all this. The first thing is, the hypotenuse is always considered to be positive. Okay? The hypotenuse is always considered to be positive. Now, what I'm going to do with all these examples now is, I'm going to change them into 3, 4, 5 triangles. And I'm going to explain why I'm doing that. Okay, I'm always going to make it minus 3 and 4 or minus 4 and 3. So I'm just changing the points ever so slightly. And what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to use Pythagoras' theorem to tell you what the length of each one is. The hypotenuse will be 5 in each case when you do Pythagoras' theorem. Is everybody on board with the reasons why they're minus? Yeah? And you're okay with it being... you're alright with the hypotenuse being 5. Yeah? Now, first thing we're going to deal with is what's called all. And it has a plus there. Okay? All basically means that whatever the angle is in here, the angle is always between 0 and 90. And what all plus means that tan, cos and sine of any angle from 0 to 90 will be a positive result. Let's examine why. In this here is this one here. What is tan A? Sorry? Tan A is 4 over 3. Cos A? 3 over sine A? See the way they're all positive? Yeah? And what happens when you cos inverse that? Somebody cos inverse 3 over 5, another person tan inverse 4 over 3. Tell me what angle you get. 53.13, that's perfect, right? That's a 53.13 degrees, 0 to 90. Let's go into the second one, okay? Now the second one is a problem, and I'm going to show you why. In the second quadrant, if I now change this here, and I say angle A is now, see the way the triangle is now pointing in here, alright? And your angle is always said to start at 0. And now it's going all the way across. Now it's like this example here. It's pointing into the second quadrant. The second quadrant is called S positive. Can anybody guess what that means? Only sine is going to be positive, and here's why. Sine A is going to be 4 over 5. Cos A, minus 3 over 5. And tan A, 4 over minus 3. In this quadrant, only sine is positive. Sine is then worth an angle. Sine is an angle that's worth over 90 degrees, okay? To find out what this angle is, you'll always take the positive value of any of these. So can anybody tell me what's tan A equals 4 over 3? Plus 4 over 3. Tan inverse it, tell me what the angle is.
4 over 3.
53.13.
53.13. Now, this angle here is 53.13. What can you tell me about this one here? 180 minus that angle. So, the first rule that you need to know is the rule for the second quadrant. The rule for the second quadrant is 180 minus what's called the reference angle. The reference angle means you ignore the fact that it's minus and you tan inverse it anyway and you get what's called the reference angle. We'll be doing more on that in a minute. Okay? Next step on our journey is we've now finished off the sine part. And what we're doing next is we're looking at our angle again and we're going, okay, what happens if it ends up down here? What happens this time? This time we have an example that looks something like, sorry, I looped both of them there. This one here. Everybody see that? Now, in this case, what is, in this case here, what is tan A this time? Tan A is minus 4 over cos A is minus 4 over 5 tan A, oh sorry, sin A, minus 3 over 5. Which one is positive? Why is tan positive? A negative divided by a negative gives you a positive. This one here is known as tan positive. Any angle, pick any angle between 180 and 270 and I guarantee you that the tan will always be negative when will always be positive when you put it in. Sine or cos 243 will always be negative, provided you have your calculator in degree mode, not radians mode. Okay guys, and finally we have to go to ourselves now. What is the rule for the third quadrant? What is the rule for this? Okay guys, once again, take either one of these as the positive number and we're going to get what's called the reference angle. Somebody cos inverse 4 over 5 for me. What you get? Shh. Cos inverse 4 over 5?
36.86.
36.86. Okay guys, shh. Lads, this here is 36.86. Everybody agreed with that? Yeah? It's 4 over 5. That's what the angle is. 1 second. This here is going to be, this angle here is going to be 36.86. Can anybody tell me if that's 36.86, what is this full angle here? On the outside?
270 minus 36.86.
No, it's 180 plus 36.86. Sorry, it's 180 plus. This time around it's going to be 180 plus that angle. This means that the rule for your third quadrant is 180 plus the reference angle. Different rules for different quadrants. Finally, we're going to make the last rule up now. The last rule is when we go all the way to the last corner. Okay, we're going to the last corner now. And the last corner, shh, guys, the last corner is going to be over here. And now our angle is going from here all the way around to the other side. It's going to be an angle between 270 and 360. Now, where does this come from? We're looking at our sine, cos and tan again. What is sine A, cos A and tan A this time around? It's going to be tan A minus 3 over 4. Tan is negative. Cos 4 over 5 sine. This means that only cos is positive in this quadrant. It completes our series. All STC. I remember it by calling it Anto stole the car. Okay? And it goes that way. So okay. And what's going to happen next, guys, is this. Okay? What we're going to do next is we once again have to figure out this angle here. When you figure out this angle, when you're figuring out a Q angle, you have to obey first quadrant rules, which means you take these ones as positive. Somebody tan inverse 3 over 4 for me to get the reference angle. You're always looking for the Q angle. 36.87, yeah? Now guys, this angle here, therefore this angle here is 36.86. What is this angle going to be then? Anybody? 360 minus your reference angle. That is where we get the fourth quadrant rule of 360 minus our reference angle. Okay guys. Brings me on to the questions. These 3 rules here for the second, third and fourth quadrant are going to come in very handy very soon. Okay? You should take them down. They'll be back on the board in a second. They are not in your table, so you need to know them off by heart. Okay? Rule for the second quadrant is 180 minus reference angle. Rule for third quadrant is 180 plus reference angle. Rule for fourth quadrant is 360 minus reference angle. Now guys, we're going to put these together really small in the corner, and we're going to be using these repeatedly for up to 2 different exercises. Now let's begin here. I'm going to do 2 of these, no more, no less. 28 and 30. Let's begin. Cos A is minus 1 over 2. This means cos is negative. Okay? What 2 quadrants is cos negative in? S and T, which means in between 90 to 270 we're going to get 2 values. 2 values for which sine and for which cos is negative. Is everybody happy with that? Okay, first of all, calculate your reference angle. What did I say about reference angles before? You ignore the fact it's negative. Ignore that. And what I want you to do is the reference angle equals cos inverse a half. What is cos inverse a half? 60 degrees. Now guys, now that we know it's 60 degrees, which 2 quadrants did we say that the answers are in? Second and third. Obey the answers of the second and third. It's going to be 180 minus 60 and 180 plus 60. And what's the answer then? 120 and 240. Now guys, look at this. If you aren't sure about this, check your answer. Put in cos 120 and our answer most definitely should be minus a half. Let's see if it is. Now, why didn't I get minus a half? I'm in radian mode. So I'm going to go shift, setup. I'm going to go to degree mode, which is number 3. I'm going to try it again. Minus a half. The same thing happens for 240. Okay? So guys, that's how we do these questions. 240. Also minus a half. You happy with that? Okay guys, let's move on. Tan equals minus 1. Let's once again look at our ASTC. Anto stole the car. Okay? Now, Now guys, what happens here is we're going to look at tan. Tan is negative. Name the two quadrants tan is negative in. Name it. S and C. Numbers 2 and number 4. We're going to use rule 2 and rule 4. Next part. Get your reference angle. What's the reference angle? Tan inverse? Not -1. I told you never to use the minus sign. Always use the 1. Just the positive sign. What do we get for this? 45 degrees. Now guys, what are my two angles then? Rule 2 and rule 4. 180 minus 45 and 360 minus 45 gives me the two answers of 135 and 315. Connor, you have a question? If you reread the question, Connor says that it cannot be between 270 and 3. It has to be between 270 and 360. That eliminates out the answer of 135, leaving one answer of 315. Okay, stop. What we have here is the reference angle, okay? And we have to find out the reference angle. Now, what I'm going to do to find out the reference angle is this. I circle whichever question I get, which is 225. I write down which quadrant is 225 in. Which quadrant is it in? The third quadrant. A, S, T, C. A1, S2, T3, C4. A is the first, S is second, T is third, C is fourth. What we do next is, once we identify the quadrant, we write down the rule that quadrant is meant to do. The rule is 180 plus reference angle. So 180 plus reference angle has to equal 225. What is the reference angle? 45. You're then going to be given an example that's in radians. If the example is in radians, what I ask you to do is I ask you to change radians back into degrees. To change radians back into degrees, simply replace pi radians with 180 degrees. 4 over 3 multiplied by 180, anybody? 720 divided by 3, which gives me 240 degrees. Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, 240 degrees. What you're going to do next is this 240 degrees is located in which quadrant? Third. Once again obeys 180 plus reference. The reference angle therefore must be 60. Now guys, you might be asked to give your reference angle in terms of radians. How would you do that then? Divide 60 by 180 and whatever fraction you get, put a pi beside it. It's going to be a third pi. That's how you do that. Alright.